You are listening to the Life, Hope, and Leadership podcast with Nick Chybrzynski, a transparent, honest, and encouraging podcast to equip you through real-life experiences.
Yo, what's up, guys? Thank you for being a part of the Life, Hope, and Leadership podcast. I hope that you realize how encouraged and how motivated I am. Encouraged by the fact that I hear from you and that you guys message me or meet me and or come up to me at church or in the community and tell me you're listening, but also motivated. My motivation is to help you walk with God, is to help mentor from whatever part I get to be a part of your life, whether it's a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of wisdom, or maybe even, just affirmation to things maybe that you already believe, things that you might already know, and it's just hearing it again. The redundancy is affirming you and keeping you going. That's all I want to do. I want you to walk in your fullness of purpose. I want you to know God and his plan for your life, and it means the world. So do me a favor, if you are watching, mash a subscribe button somewhere, follow, send, share. The more that we get it out, the more that I can continue to reach more people, and we get to do that together because you were a part of sharing it and getting it into somebody else's hands. If you find it valuable, if you don't tell me. No, I'm playing. Let me know. Also, you can support the podcast directly through Spotify. There is a link in the video or the audio description. That being said, I do not ever want to drop these things and start doing advertisements in the middle. I have podcasts that I love listening to, and I'm not going to lie, guys. I hate when I'm in the middle of a groove and it's like, we'll be right back. And the next thing you know, and it's everybody I listen to, and they just drop some stupid brand. I do have a product review thing on YouTube that I do, and that is where I talk about products and things that I use. But if you want an ad-free podcast, hit the subscribe or the support button through Spotify. All that being said, let's get into this. I am a pastor. You may not know this. You may know this. I pastor a church, and the church is 10 years old. I've been in ministry for almost 30 years. I have been in a lot of rooms where I was a fly on the wall. Sometimes I was a microphone in the room. Sometimes I was a part of the process and the meeting. And one of the greatest things that I am eternally grateful for was the opportunities from my pastors over the years to be in rooms where they were counseling, mentoring, pastoring, loving, coaching, challenging people in marriage. And the reason I say that I'm eternally grateful for it is because my wife and I have been married for 15 years as of this month. And knowing how hard it has been and knowing the shortcomings that I've had and the struggles we've had, the ups and downs that come along with any marriage, I cannot imagine where I would have been had I not had the opportunity to be with other leaders in my life when I was a single guy. And that is something important when it comes to leadership. I do want to encourage all of you coaches out there, all of you pastors, all of you leaders, all of you counselors, do your best to bring some shadows in the room. What I always say is, if you're walking in the light, you should always have a shadow, somebody following you. And obviously there's like HIPAA laws and things like that and anonymity. So you got to find the right place and the right people that you can trust. But, if you wait to put the right person or a person in the room until they're qualified or ready, it might extend their process of preparation. And so you actually are giving momentum to people's persons and their purposes and their dreams whenever you bring them around. And I'm grateful that I was able to be around, because not only did it equip me to help others, it helped me get through stuff with my wife in our marriage, and now helping others with our marriage Monday on a Tuesday live streams and as a pastor. And so the reason I say that is I've had some recent opportunities to invest in some couples with my wife. And I notice that there's just a lot of neglect in marriages in general. I think it's safe to say over 50% divorce rate in the United States of America. So we know there's a lot of marital neglect. But also I think that there's a lot of things that the things that go without saying that have not been said. And so there's a lot of people that are missing out on some of the practicals of marriage, and also some of the very, very intrinsic parts of marriage that there really are no ifs, ands, or buts about. However, all we're hearing is ifs, ands, or buts. And so I wanted to make this specific episode specifically towards men. So men, this is your podcast. Ladies, if you're listening, that's fine. But what I do ask you to do is not to turn this podcast into a knife to stab or jab your husband with, but rather an invitation of love and grace to maybe have some aha moments. I realize there's a lot of things that is lacking when it comes to the principles of marriage and God's design for the home. Now, I personally, based on the conviction that I have on the Word of God, I believe that God designed the home for a husband and a wife, a man and woman, born man and woman. This is not to offend. This is not hate speech. If you are in the LGBTQ community, I love you. I'm here for you. But although I disagree on our view of sex, sexuality, and the sacredness of the home, it doesn't mean just because we disagree with lifestyles doesn't mean you cannot lean in on our podcasts. That's up to you. I offer you that invitation. I have many friends in that community and love them dearly. But this is specifically coming from the principles of what I believe God's standard for home and the marriage is. And I believe that when a man says to a woman, "Will you marry me?" they are creating a covenantal contract between them and their to-be wife. Now, I believe that just because you're engaged does not mean you're married. I believe just because you're in love does not mean you're married. And I have seen the chaos of living in a marital lifestyle outside of that covenant. So I believe you are husband and wife when you legally, by the state and by the community of your faith, stand in front of your community, and in the eyes of God and the state, you are legally married. That is what I believe, because according to the Word of God, that is what I see. The Bible talks about us living in order and decency. And so I want to talk about that. And I think that what happens is we have dumbed a lot of times marriage down to, I like you, you like me, let's have sex, make babies, buy a home, live real long. Soon one of us will die and then we'll be alone. And there's just so much to that, and there's so much more to it. And I think what's happened is it's the process of degradation. We have taken the marriage example from the previous marriage that we saw, the family that we grew up in, who saw it from their family, who saw it from their family. And so what we're getting is translations of what marriage should be, rather than just looking at the original context of creation. When you proposed, you probably had some nerves to work up. You probably had a ring, you had a plan, you had a hope. Please say yes. I like you. I love you. You make me feel butterflies inside. I want to have sex with you. I want to grow old with you. I want to buy a house with you. I want to get on a boat with you. I want to go on drives and vacations and honeymoons. And your dream woman that you're standing there with, she says yes. I mean, you hope she says yes. So she says yes. But just because she said yes in the moment, we have to still weigh out the lifetime, a lifetime of trust, a lifetime of leadership, a lifetime of love, a lifetime of safety that she believed, men, that you would provide. Your wife married you under a hope and an aspiration and a premise that you may not have realized, but I want to say it this way. Whatever woman you married, there was fine print written in the contract in the depths of her soul. There was fine print on that contract that was written in the depth of her soul. I want you to catch that. There are things that when you proposed, it goes without saying that there were things that she was expecting, things that she was hoping that necessarily she doesn't know how to say, but they are there and they're assumed. Now, just because they're assumed and just because they're the fine print, I always laugh. My wife walks by the store. She goes, "Oh my gosh, babe, everything in there is half off." I walk in. I'm like, "Well, let's go get you something." I walk in and I go, "Babe, that's not half off, girl. That is buy one, get one half off, except for buy one, get one is fine print. It's very small." And so they get my wife hook, line, and sinker. A lot of times, the things we love about our spouse are in the big print, but there's these covenantal things that are in the fine print. And I want to talk about what it really means, men. And I hope that you'll be humble enough. I hope you'll be open enough. I hope you'll be sensitive enough to go, you know what? Maybe I need to freaking listen to this. Let me ask you first and foremost, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is the quality of your marriage looking like? Not just your sex life, not just your, I go to work, I come home, or I do this or I do that. We laugh every once in a while, we go out, whatever. No, really, where is the excitement on a scale of 1 to 10? Where is the intimacy on a scale of 1 to 10? What does your date life with your spouse look like on a scale of 1 to 10? What's the quality of your parenting on a scale of 1 to 10? Where's your finances for your home on a scale of 1 to 10? There's so many things we're going to talk about. And I hope that this really pings, because your wife is looking to you to lead in so many ways. And the reality is you should know that. And sadly, a lot of these things are missed. When a woman says yes to a proposal, she's not just saying yes so she can dress up, look pretty, get a wedding ring, and have a big, awesome wedding. I always say this. A lot of people have big weddings and small marriages. They have expensive, elaborate weddings and minimalistic, weak, and lethargic marriages. Your wife to be, your wife that she is, if you're engaged, think about this. If you're single, mull this over. She's saying, "I trust you." She's saying, "I believe you will protect me." Now, there's going to be people out there, "I don't need a husband. I don't need a man." That's fine. This isn't for you then. That's cool. Go to the next podcast. "I believe you'll protect me." She said, "I believe," in her soul, she said, "I believe that you will choose me even when I'm not easy to love." She's saying, "I believe you will carry this family spiritually, emotionally, and physically." And ladies, let me tell you something. You are responsible to qualify that you're going to marry a man that can do these things and will do these things. But men, you cannot do these things up to the "I do" and then put them on the back burner. We live in a culture that glorifies romance but ignores responsibility. This is one of the problems that I have with a lot of the easy hey man, I want to look sexy, but I don't want to work out. So I'll just go, take the easy route. We have so many people that they glorify romance. We have Tinder, Grindr, all these different apps to just go have sex and hook up. And then there's no responsibility. It's insane. So a lot of men are walking into marriage undeveloped or underdeveloped. And men, let me tell you something. This isn't to beat you. This is to call you to the ring. Let's get in there. Let's train together. Let's grow. Because you might have entered into the marital season underdeveloped, underprepared, maybe not even aware of what it is you actually were signing up for. But the truth is, when you proposed to your wife or your wife-to-be, you made a silent promise to her that you would cover her spirit, soul, and body. Spirit, soul, and body. God's design for you is in Ephesians chapter 5. I love it. It's one of my favorite chapters in the Bible. Husbands, love your wives the same way that Christ loved the church and gave his life for her. He gave his life for her. I know men that would die for their family, but they won't live for them. I have seen men who would kill for their wives and their kids, but they will not change in their life for them. I'll give my life for my family, but I won't live for my family. And people say, "Well, what do you mean? I work hard. I do this." Yeah, great. When's the last time that you went on a walk? Or, my wife, "Babe, you want to go on a walk?" I don't want to go on a walk. But man, I said I'd die for you. You tell me I'm not going to go on a walk every time you want to go. But every once in a while, you got to get up there, man. And then you got to ask yourself why you don't want to. Are you just lazy? You tired? Or are you just in a rut? So, the weddings are cute. But Ephesians 5 is a job description, man. The wedding, oh, it's beautiful. Look, everybody gets studded up. You got all these guys, they get their tuxedos, they get all their boys. Oh, let's party for the wedding. Great, guys. But let's have a great marriage. Jesus did not just love the church with his words. He loved the church with his actions. He bled for her. He defended her. He restored her. He met her. He walked with her. And that's what our role is. A husband is a reflection of Christ. And so you might be watching this and listen to this. I'm not a Christian. Okay, great. That's fine. But listen, I'm telling you, I don't care how you got in the position. I don't care if you believe in Christ or not. I believe that in the beginning, God made man, he made woman, and he put them together, and they are helpmates to one another. And the husband was there. He's supposed to protect her, care for her, nurture her. Now, you can take God out of the picture. The role still remains. You don't get to opt out. You don't get to coast. You do not get to disengage and expect your wife to carry spiritual weight, physical weight. You don't get to do it. If you said yes to the girl, then you also need to realize you said yes to the calling. If I hire you to be a landscaper to work for me, and I say, hey, get on that mower and go cut that grass. You go, I don't cut grass. I said, well, you don't have a job. And let me tell you something. It's easier to fix a marriage than it is to go to another one. Because you ask anybody who's been divorced and had to heal and had to, evaluate and walk through stuff, you're not going to find somebody typically, unless you were in an abusive relationship. But most of the time, whatever you're leaving, you're walking into, because a lot of the times the problems that you're having in your marriage are you, whether you like to believe it or not. It takes two people to make the party rumble. Let's talk about it, though. Psychology, okay? We're talking about spirituality. Let's talk about the way you think. When a woman enters a marriage, she is neurologically, her nerves, her brain, her emotions are wired to seek security and connection. It's one of the most essential needs of a human being. One of them is security. Another is connection. So that's what your wife is looking for. That's why emotional neglect is so damaging. That is, you may not be an abusive husband. You may not even be arguing as a husband. But if you're unavailable, if you're cold, if you are withdrawn, if you are too busy, she is being wired that she has been abandoned. Now, there is also a reality, ladies. If you're listening, you can't just expect 24/7 nonstop relationship, and you need girlfriends. But husbands, there needs to be intimacy and connection. Studies in psychology show us that a woman's sense of safety comes from consistency and engagement. So not just consistency and not just, we engage. No, are we engaging consistently? My wife and I, we have a standard. Every 7 days, we go on a date. Every 7 weeks, we get away for 24 hours at least. We go somewhere off the grid, out of the shop, and we spend time together, usually off a beaten path somewhere. And then every 7 months, we go away. We get away. Oh, I can't afford that. You can't afford not to do that. You need consistency. And those 777s hold us accountable. Hey, it's been 8 weeks. We haven't done something. Well, then drop it. Let's go. We got to go. You husbands, men, you must be emotionally grounded. That is a form of protection. I have been short-tempered. I have been quiet. I used to shut in and shut down. I grew up with a lot of rejection and pain. So when things would get chaos or I didn't like the way things felt, I would just shut down and it would push my wife out. And I realized that was a pattern, a behavior in other relationships and other friendships and other dating relationships historically. And I realized, man, this is something following me, and it makes me seem ungrounded, which makes her feel unprotected. Because if she can't trust me to be emotionally balanced, then she's not going to feel safe. Are you pursuing her heart? Are you caring about her emotions, or is it just her body? I had someone I love dearly, and they went through a separation, and there was sadly there was an affair that happened and some other things. And I said, well, what's going on? Well, she left me a letter. I said, well, let me see the letter. And they read it to me. And one of the things was, you don't want to do anything with me. And I said, well, what do you mean you don't want to do anything? And, the guy was like, well, she bought me I bought her golf clubs and I bought her a bowling ball. And I'm like, so you wanted her to do all this stuff you like to do. I said, well, what are some things that, and ladies, you need to understand that if your man is inviting you into their hobbies, they're trying to connect. Okay. But men, you also need to understand she may not want to do that. I said, well, what are some things that she wanted to do? Oh, she wanted me to go to the tanning bed and do this. And I said, are you telling me that rubbing your wife down in some oil and watching her get into a tanning bed without any clothes on is a bad thing and could save your marriage? And he just looked at me like, oh my God. Yeah, obviously it's going to take a half hour, an hour out of your life, but okay, you get to rub some oil on your wife's back and watch her go tanning. Do it. Why? Because it makes her feel protected and cared for and valued. And this is the fine print written on the soul of her heart. I'm telling you, it's hidden in there. It's in her soul, man. If we're honest, we're silent, we shut down. I'm here. I'm physically present. Why are you bugging me? The lights are on. Car's working. I got gas in there. But really, guys, come on, let's be honest. Your presence without pursuit is like a locked door with the lights on. She sees you, but she can't get in. She can't get in. She's empty. She's locked out. And it's one thing to say, oh, we live together, but if she's locked out, she feels like she's living on the street. Let me ask you something. You're going to let your wife feel like she should be living on the street? When's the last time that you can say you actually took time to connect? I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about conversation. The TV off. The phone is away. You're holding her. How are you feeling? How can I be there for you? What's going on? So now, we got to get into some of the other things that sadly, this is something that's bothering me. And it's bothering me because I'm living with a little bit of pain increase in my back that's become intolerable. And a lot of it is because of neglect of my physical fitness over the years and me grinding and working hard and working too much, but not taking care of myself. I want you to think about this. Can you pick your wife up? Seriously. I don't care how much your wife weighs. I don't care how big she is or little she is. You married her. And her body, whether it's from too many Cheetos because you guys go out to eat too much or eating junk food too much, or because you built a family with her and her body shifted and changed. Can you pick your wife up? I mean, literally. Can you carry her out of a burning house? Could you physically protect her if something went down? Now there's exceptions. I mean, there's expectations from her and there should be expectations from you, but there are exceptions to the rules because I want you to think about, like, if there might be a physical, you might have an injury, you might have a handicap, maybe something that happened after you were together, or maybe you were born with a handicap of some sort. Maybe you're an amputee, who knows? But are you operating at your optimal fitness? Could you actually say, I am doing my best to give you the best of me? A man who asked for the role of protector should be doing their part. I get frustrated when I see law enforcement and they're so out of shape. I see videos on YouTube, people, you watch stuff and there's highlights and reels and whatnot. But it breaks my heart because I'm thinking, dude, you have to be in optimal position to be able to protect a society. Well, men, you need to be in an optimal place to protect your wives. And I'm not talking just physically from protection. I'm talking guarding your physical heart so you can live a long life and be there for her. This is stewardship. The Bible says your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. Honor God with your body. 1 Corinthians chapter 6. I'm watching a video the other day, guys, preaching his heart out. Oh, Jesus this, Jesus that. And he had to be 400 pounds, he couldn't even stand up. They had him sitting in a seat. This is not body shaming. This is discipline and stewardship of the body God has given you. People don't want to talk about it. Oh, I got the power of God. It doesn't matter. The fruit of the Holy Spirit is self-control. And look, I'm telling you, I'm guilty, guys. And I have made it my goal to live a life of greater discipline. You might be disciplined, but it's time to go to a greater place of discipline. Can you protect your wife? Can you carry her out of the house? Can you carry her through the threshold? Too many guys let themselves go and they justify it with, I'm too busy. And you staying healthy isn't just for you. It's for your wife. It's for your kids. It's for those that you're leading. I'm not saying you got to be jacked, but what I am saying is, are you taking care of yourself? Because what you're ignoring today is going to dominate you tomorrow. What's controlling you today is what you're ignoring today is going to control you tomorrow. I promise. Across history, cultures took marriage very seriously. Jewish traditions, a man built a house before the wedding, built a house physically. Why? Because I'm going to do the physical work as a representation of my spiritual responsibility. My job is to build you a home, to protect you. In African tribes, men had to complete rites of passage before hey man, we need to see these rites of passage before you can even marry. I was ministering to a Hmong community, and you had to come with a dowry, a savings, and a gift. And it's like, I tell men all the time, you need to start saving now while you're single. You need to, get a home, stop living with your mama and your daddy and go get a house for a wife to come into. Have something set up for her, healthy and protected. And I'm just saying, to learn to lead and take care of things. And you don't got to know everything. There's people out there. I'm not telling you to go build a house, but I am saying build a home. Okay. We have men right now, they don't want to work. They have no self-control. They're making babies everywhere, but they're not making sons or daughters. It's like my dad. My dad stuck around long enough to make me, but he didn't stick around long enough to raise me. Thank God for daddy number 3. You got guys, no job, no self-control, no vision for their future, no prayer life. Their wives are begging them, come to church with me, please, come to church with me. It'd mean the world for you to come. I'm not going, drinking that Kool-Aid. Man, are you freaking kidding me? What you're really just saying is you're a punk, you're lazy, and you don't love your wife enough to freaking support her in her walk with God. That's what you're really saying. And what you're saying is your opinion and your frustration and your fatigue and whatever it is, most of the time what you're saying. I'm not saying it's not 100%, okay? Because there are situations, you might have a job on Sundays that you just can't get out. There's different things. But what I'm talking about is the consistent behaviors that become excuses rather than you evaluating yourself, men. And someone's got to say, you can get pissed. You can come knock on the door and be like, you're a jerk, whatever. Call me, message me, shoot me an email, cuss me out. But I'm telling you, if you ain't listening to your wife, if you ain't caring for her, if you ain't nurturing her feelings, if you're neglecting her non-negotiables, the things that she said, I can't have this. You did not tell me this is going to be this way. You didn't tell me you were going to abuse me. You didn't tell me you were going to neglect me. You said, will you marry me? You promised me the world and you ain't even giving me squat. Marriage was never meant to be a crash course. It's meant to be something that you are growing and being prepared for. It is an assignment from God. And I want to encourage you that you can do it, but you got to shake off that couch and that beer and that laziness and that beer belly. And you got to shake off that TV sometimes. And there's things you got to put down. I got a brother in my life. I'm so proud of him. He's 6 months, no beer, and his whole cholesterol levels, his heart, his blood pressure, his face, literally, he feels great. He looks great, and his family's following him to church because they're going, man, I love my dad so much. I love my husband so much. I love my father-in-law so much. I love my granddaddy so much. They love him so much, and they see the fact that this dude was willing to put it down so he could pick his family up, and he's doing it. And he's picking his family up, not physically. He could, he's strong, but he's picking them up first and foremost, and most importantly, spiritually. Whether you know it or not, you made promises, and it's up to you today under the sound of my voice. Are you a promise keeper or are you a promise breaker? Are you a deceiver? Are you a thief? Did you steal some man's daughter? Would you be okay if someone neglected, ignored, abused, cussed at, handled, rejected your babies, your daughter, the way you might be your wife? Because that's someone's daughter who trusted you to protect her, lead her, cover her, pursue her, be safe with you. And if you haven't said it in a while, I hope that these words, I hope they're frustrating you, but I hope you hear my heart. This podcast isn't to beat you. This is to inspire you to walk in the fullness of that covenant that you promised, because she wrote fine print, designed by God. It was written on the fine print of her soul. So here's my challenge for you men. Ladies, once again, this is not a tool for you to use against your husbands. If they are trying, then for the love of God, celebrate their effort. But you can tell them, hey, my pastor, my friend, one of my leaders, a podcast I came across, I thought it would encourage you. I thought it might challenge you. And I would love if you would listen to it. And then follow up. Did you listen? What did you think? How can I help you? What can I do better? Okay, ladies? So men, let's get back to it. Take a moment this week. Write your wife an intentional covenant. Sit down. I love you. Tell her what you feel. Tell her what your promises are. Write your wife a love letter with what your intentions are. Even if you've been married for 15 years like my wife and I, even if you messed up, say what you would have said when you proposed. Speak life over her. Write it down. You cannot lead the world but lose your home. God forbid you knock it out at work, but you knock out your wife, you knock out your marriage. You can't ask for submission from others when you can't be submitted to the truth yourself. You can't expect her to thrive under a man who is spiritually asleep. You don't got to be perfect, but you got to be awake. Say it. Awake. Oh, come on, say it. Awake, present, and willing. I hope this helps you. If it's helping you, do me a favor. Send this to someone. Hit me up. If you're near me at Generations House of Worship in the Pittsburgh area, come to Generations. Get connected to other men. Get into groups. Grow your marriage. Get around some brothers who can encourage you if you're trying to lay down some addictions. If you're looking at pornography, if you're drinking all the time, if you're high all the time, you're out at the club and the bar all the time without your wife. It's time for some changes, okay? Your wife doesn't deserve that, and she did not sign up for that. Well, she knew what I was going to be. No, it doesn't matter what you think doesn't matter what you think she knew. When she said yes, she thought it was about her. Let me ask you, is it about her? I hope so. I love you guys. This might be hard, but there's fine print on her soul, and just because you didn't read it doesn't mean you're out of the contract. That being said, change your marriage this week. We'll talk to you later.
You are listening to the Life, Hope, and Leadership Podcast with Nick Chybrzynski, a transparent, honest, and encouraging podcast to equip you through real life experiences.